The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Well, no, what I'm saying is someone's still going to win, and it might be if just
I know
half the field, if just about half the field is playing badly, with golf, you can easily say, oh, the course must be hard. They're all playing bad. You know what I mean? It all kind of comes back to earth a little bit.
Sergio has been like, I can't wait to leave this place. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome into the Divots and Pivots show. I, of course, am your host, Andrew LeDuc, a.k.a. The Real Mr. Mallard. You can find me at Real Mr. Mallard on Twitter. Ooh, voice crack early on in the episode. Fantastic. And yes, you may notice if you are watching us on YouTube, where you can find us on YouTube at Divots and Pivots every Tuesday at 8. Bud is not with us, but we are graced with the presence of Josh Mahler. And yes, if you recognize the last name Mahler, it's because he is the co-owner of MahlerBros, where you can go and get the Second Ball All-American t-shirts here for the Divots and Pivot show. So Josh, how are you? I just realized both of our Twitter handles start with real. So we are both trying to convince people we are not fake, apparently.
Yeah, I gotta convince everybody I'm not the fake one, because there's a fake Josh Mahler going out there and trying to tell everybody that he's the real Josh Mahler. And so I had to put real in front of it because Josh Mahler wasn't available on Twitter. Yeah,
I was quite surprised when I tried to just put in Mr. Mallard, and apparently there's a Mr. Mallard in this universe somewhere. And so that caught me a little off guard too. So I pivoted real fast with the real. So that's what happens on social media sometimes. But how are you this evening, though?
I'm doing all right, man. I've been busy, but I'm doing good.
Good. And like I said, Josh is co-owner of MahlerBros, so you can go over to MahlerBros.com, check out all their apparel. Their golf shirts are fantastic. Their hats. I have one on the other side of the room right now. I can't grab it, but I wear it just about every day. It's the only hat I've moved with me to my new apartment so far, so I wear it even more than I was before. And if you, like I said, if you want to go, it's Christmas time, so you get your man, the special guy in your life that Second Ball American T-shirt or any of their other golf shirts. Look, they're fantastic. They feel great. They're breathable when you're out there on the course. So go over and check it out. DivPiv, that's DIVPIV for the discount code at checkout. Make sure you check that out. But hey, let's get into some sports here, because crazy stuff going on in the golf world. As always, it's still the back and forth between Greg Norman, between Rory McIlroy before the PGA, whatever. But we took a break from the live stuff this week. We had the match happen this weekend, which a twilight, I guess, special out there in Vegas between Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth versus Tiger and Rory, which are kind of the faces of the PGA now. And Jordan and Justin just kind of wiped the floor with them. I didn't watch too much of it myself, but I saw the results. I know they were up 3 through the first 4. It was kind of a no contest in that arena. I wonder, do you think Rory would have had more success with Charlie out there than Tiger?
It kind of seems like it, wouldn't it?
Did you see last week, by the way, whenever they did the father-son pro-am there, or whatever they want to call it, where Charlie left a note for Justin in the bunker, basically trash talking, saying nice shot, because he knew he was going to hit it in that bunker.
See, I thought that was just a meme. I didn't know that was real.
No, he actually left. I saw the video of Justin walking into the bunker and picking up the note.
Really?
That was real.
Because I saw pictures of it and everything, and I was laughing, and I thought it was funny, but I didn't realize that was real. That makes it a lot funnier in real life, knowing that was a real thing.
The kid's got some guts on him. He's got some real star power. I can't.
He is his father's son.
Look, he really is, and we talked about it last week, about how Tiger had told Charlie, don't mimic my swing, mimic Rory's. And when you put the two of them side by side, it's legitimate. He's got the exact same swing as Rory.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. So I mean, look, and Tiger, I think, was honestly being smart there, because I think he knows he can't swing the way he used to. So if anything, for me, that shows that he's accepted the reality of his current position in the golf world. He's not really going out there expecting to win another major. And he knows that. So, but he's going to still do whatever he can to better the golf world. I think that's why we've seen him take a bigger kind of stand on just, the so-called soapbox in defending the PGA. But hey, before we get into more golf and more NFL, I know on your show, you love you guys talk mainly college football, correct?
It seems like that's just kind of what falls at us. That's what I think. Really, I guess all three of us now are most passionate about is college football. But we try to talk all sports, but college football is just the biggest one on our mind, I guess.
I guess so. Who is your team?
My team is Oklahoma. I'm a big Sooner fan.
Okay, and honestly, I forget where they ended up in the rankings this year. I don't think it was very good.
Not even ranked 6-6.
I didn't think so.
Just a horrible season.
Still better than my BC Eagles, but anyways, do you? So I do want to get your thoughts on this because it's something we've talked about here on the show before. But as someone who follows college football more so than I do, Bud's the college football guy as a Georgia fan on this show. How do you feel about the upcoming changes of the playoffs?
It's funny you say that because we were actually just talking about that on our show. I think it was released yesterday, and we were talking about that. So with 12 teams coming in, I know at least Blake and I we discussed how we are in total agreement that 12 teams just kind of opens it up for mediocrity as a national champion. And so, I mean, I just look at a 12-team playoff, and it's really hard to take 4 teams and to break it down to 4 teams because a lot of times, like this year, for example, there's really only 2 teams that are really deserving of that national championship spot. And so it's unfair that Georgia, who really has proven it more than Michigan, I think, in many senses, that Georgia gets the tougher matchup in having to play Ohio State, whereas Michigan gets to have the easier matchup in TCU, which I think both matchups are actually perfect, just because that's 2 comparable teams against 2 comparable teams in many ways. But it's just it seems silly to expand it when we already can't get 4 right.
Well, yeah, because someone out there is always upset about the 4 that made it in or the 1 or 2 that missed it. So I agree with you. I've been saying for weeks now that 12 seems like too much. If they want to expand it, I feel like 8 might be the magic number just because it covers your fringe teams that people are pissed didn't make it. It kind of 8 to me covers the argument of strength of schedule, which I know came up with Ohio State sneaking in because there's part of me that says strength of schedule. Part of strength of schedule should be taken into account that both TCU and USC had to play an extra game that Ohio State didn't have to play, and Ohio State basically made it into the playoff by not playing. They didn't have the chance to lose, and so that. I feel like 8 would kind of solve that problem. And like you said, the mediocrity, I think 8 is a good number of a realistic, quote unquote, Cinderella story happening.
Yeah. 8's kind of where I've always kind of drawn the line. I feel like that opens it up. I feel like 6 could also do just fine. But 8 just kind of makes it a little, I guess where there's no bye weeks. And I know a lot of people like that, but what frustrates me is people trying to argue for one team over the other, by saying that, well, Alabama would beat TCU or Alabama would beat Ohio State, whatever matchup they want to throw out there. It's not about the 4 best teams. That's not what this playoff is supposed to be. It's the 4 most deserving teams. And like you said, TCU, I think with them, I hate to see that they lost. And because of that loss, it kind of makes me realize that really they don't deserve to be in the national championship talk. Again, I think it should just be the 2 teams, Georgia and Michigan, going at it. But with TCU, I don't think that should really hurt them necessarily, and I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad that the committee got it right this year. But as far as that 4th spot, it just doesn't seem like there is a good fit for the 4th spot, and so it just seems like there is really no good answer to put in there at the number 4 spot there this year.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like 8, because 8 you cover your Power 4, Power 5, whatever you want to call it now, because I know the conferences are such. There's movement in the conferences, and I think in the end we're going to end up with like a Power 2. Like it feels like everyone's just going down to like 2 conferences that are going to be massive. But I feel like 8, like just it covers like your champion from those, and then it covers record-wise, the deserving teams that
and if there's even a deserving group of 6 team, and again, whatever we want to call that later on down the road, then put them in there, and then maybe another couple at large, and it's just, I feel like that really does kind of widen it up to where you've got everybody in there that possibly deserves to be in there. Whereas, there's exceptions, because I feel like this year there's teams that won their conference championship that don't really deserve to be in there. Like, I don't think that Utah or Clemson really deserve to be in there. Whereas in a 12 team playoff this year, they would be on a bye week that first week. So, I mean, I don't like the way that sets it up necessarily for a conference champion to be in there, because there are some years where that's not the case.
And it's a fantastic point. And everyone always says, like, oh, it just means, college football, whether you like it or not, is just moving forward towards like the March Madness style tournament, where eventually there's going to be like 32 or 64 team tournament. That's just, to me at least, that doesn't work for football. Like, the thing about basketball is you can turn around and play 2 days later. But in football, that's just not realistic. College, NFL, I don't care. Like, you need days off, and I don't think we would end up with the best product if they ever expanded it beyond. Like I said, I think 12 is already too much. Yeah. If they ever expand it past that, I think we're going to lose a lot in the college game.
Yeah, I mean, it was one thing they doubled it to go to 4 teams. That was one thing, but now you're tripling it from there. And so, I mean, it's just going up and up. And I agree with you. I think it goes too far. And what people need to realize, and especially the people making these decisions, is that the regular season is part of that playoff system, whether you want to see it as that or not. That's showing your strength throughout the season. And so, yeah, I definitely think that needs to be taken into effect, and just realize that is part of your playoff system.
Yeah, 100%. And Jason over at TSS Fantasy, look, we embrace the pivot here sometimes. We talk everything. It's, it's the quote-unquote off-season of golf right now. So we will be getting, come January, right after the holidays, we're going to be diving hardcore back into our golf fantasy, daily fantasy, and all that that good stuff there. So we're going to be bringing that content to you from obviously Fantasy National Golf Club. Is there a fake Josh?
There is a fake Josh. Yeah, there's a fake Josh out there that stole my Twitter handle of just at Josh Mahler, and so I had to make sure that everybody knows that I am the real one.
Yeah, because we all know if we just put real in front of anything, or if we just pay the $8 for that little blue check mark a month, that we can be anybody we want. Isn't that the American dream?
I think I even posted something about that. I saw some guy with I think he had 16 followers and he had a blue check mark. And I was like, really? So this is why we need to do away with this. Just pay for a blue check mark. Let it be actual verified accounts.
Well, it just like as someone who is trying to come up in the content industry, the blue check mark is something, it's on your checklist of goals when you're kind of thinking about the steps you want to take. And yeah, that's just gone now. To me, you hit a certain respectability to get that blue check mark, and gosh, that's just freaking gone now. Anybody can get it. And I don't know. You gotta, I don't know.
And especially whenever there's some sort of breaking news that just happened, especially in the sports world, because that's really all I use Twitter for, really. It's just for sports. And so it's just when you see that blue check mark come out and say something, it doesn't even mean anything anymore. Whereas before you could be like, oh, it's a blue check mark, with this name, so it could be somebody, but that doesn't even mean that anymore.
Yeah, it used to mean oh yeah, they might actually be connected, have a connection somehow. And now it's just they had an extra $8 a month to throw around. But that's that whatever. That's Twitter. That's Elon Musk. It's entertaining to watch, but it is very frustrating to partake in. And I joked around saying that I was going to go back to MySpace. Obviously, I'm not going back to MySpace. But
I'll join you, dude. We can both have one friend on there.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll pick the same song for our homepage. That used to be fun. And put your favorite song. Oh god, those are the days. I forget. How old are you?
I'm 25. I always have to think about it now. I'm getting old enough where I'm forgetting what my age actually is, but I'm pretty sure I'm 25.
So wait, did you have MySpace, or was it done by the time
it was basically fizzling out? It was still in the stage where my parents were a little stricter when I was still at home, whenever I was younger.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I think it started fizzling out when I was maybe 14, 15 years old.
That sounds about right. I'm
Yes, I mean,
33, so like I was like in the heyday of MySpace.
yeah.
When we were all trying to learn how to code for the different backgrounds and
I do remember
designs
helping
and
my
colors.
older sister set hers up a lot, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's look, there was something fun about that, because you could find any code on the internet to make.
And there was like so many sex predators on there. It was just, it made it more fun.
I don't know about more fun, but that is 100% true.
Kept
And
you on
plus,
your toes.
we all loved having Tom as our friend. I mean, was that Facebook or MySpace? Was Tom Facebook? No, Tom wasn't Facebook. That was MySpace.
I think that was MySpace. I think
Tom
I know
was
what you're talking
MySpace. Yeah, I remember the picture. He never changed his profile picture. That Tom was a bot. I don't care. Tom was a bot. But look, yeah. So I think we're in. So let's pivot back to because I can only talk college football for so long because I just don't know enough to sustain the conversation. Honestly, I was at a bar earlier. I was just grabbing a drink after I was running a bunch of errands, and I saw a guy walking with a BC jersey on, and I wanted to just hug him because I'm a BC fan, but I feel like I've never met another BC fan, even though I'm up here. Like it's like no one cares about college football in this area. So I saw him walking with a jersey and I was like, damn, like nice jersey. Like I know you paid like $20 for that thing and I appreciate that.
That was a hard-earned $20 and I know it.
Yeah, because you know what the funny part is? It wasn't even like a player. It just said Eagles on the back. It was just number 10 and it said Eagles where the name is. So it wasn't even a player. So we don't have any players that matter ever since AJ Dillon left. And then before that, really, ever since Matt Ryan was there. Which Matt Ryan, for me, that was my freshman year of college. I remember watching them lose to – I forget who they lost to. It was when they were ranked number 2 in the country. And they lost. And then they immediately dropped to, like, number 12 because they lost one game. And I was like, well, that's bullshit. Like, just like, what is this? But that's because no one respected BC. But that's my college football kind of – I guess, involvement and experience. But when it comes to golf, I think we're in for a crazy year this year. I'm going to throw this at you right now out of nowhere. I forgot to tell you about this, but are you going to pay attention to Tiger and Rory's like little simulator league that they got going on coming in January?
I kind of want to tune in at least to see what it's all about. Because it is interesting. Like it's kind of, I don't know. It's just an off the wall kind of idea, And so it's like, well, I kind of want to see what this turns into, but I could totally see it being something that's like, yeah, I'm over this and fizzle out.
100% agree. I'm definitely going to tune in for the first one, and then that'll probably be the only one. Just like I tuned in for the first live event, and then I never tuned in again except for when I went to it live in Boston.
Yeah,
and like so that was, but yeah, that's how I feel because I just think of like how much. Like I view it as like if they're gonna do this simulator thing, it's more so like a match for me where you're gonna watch, like it's gonna be cool to watch like once in a while, like the guys trash talk each other in close proximity and like mess around with technology. But like to do it every week feels like it's just gonna be, I don't know, like you said, it's just gonna get old.
It is cool that they're bringing golf. In a way that you can have golf all year round. That is kind of the cool aspect of it, especially for your podcast, where that's the main thing you guys talk about, because once it gets into the off season, like, what do we talk about? And so now they're bringing something, and so that's part of it.
That's luckily where Liv has helped us because their attitude has given us plenty of content to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of that, the week between, we haven't nailed down a day yet, but the week between Christmas and New Year's, Bud and I will be doing another live show from the clubhouse where we're going to challenge each other on the simulator. So it's not going to be as obviously as big as the U.S. Open one was, but we're just going to go out there and we're going to have fun. We're going to record it and we're going to see what happens. So keep an eye out for when that happens because I know we're just going to have fun with it. And whenever we have fun, it makes for good content because Bud is a much better golfer than me. So he's going to have to give me like 15 strokes, I think, to even be entertaining from a competitive standpoint.
See, my brother and I are kind of similar. So with us, we go golfing, and if we are playing separate, it may be hit or miss. We may have a day where we're hitting shots and we're doing decent, but for the most part, usually it's like, we're not doing so hot. but then we play a scramble on a team, and it's like, man, we're like the best golfer out here on this course right now when we do a scramble.
When you combine your two selves together, you're one great golfer.
Yeah, because like there's just certain aspects of the game. It's like, like, hey, I think it's just the competitive nature too. It's like we're kind of competing against each other because we want to use, like I want to use my ball, but then like if we end up using your ball, I feel good about it too though. So it's all good.
I haven't done a scramble in so long. I love tournament scrambles, like those charity golf tournaments. They're just so much fun. Scramble's a fun way to play golf. I gotta find another one to do because it's a ton of fun. And my shot, because I'm the same way where I have like one good shot every like 5 shots. So whenever my ball's chosen, I'm like, all right, I walk up to it like with this, my shoulders are up high. I'm like, it's my shot.
There was a tournament that we entered into, and it was a co-ed, so like kind of men and women can enter into it, and it was just kind of unfair because like there's times where like we'd have a really good drive, but then we see a woman beats it, because she's up there on a tee way up. And it's like, oh come on, you're like, she beat me by 5 yards. You got to be kidding. I obviously outdrove her. Or there was one tournament that we did. It was actually the same tournament, and we were going, and it was with Britain's father-in-law. He was part of our team, and that was the best I had ever golfed. But he's a really good golfer, and so like I'd sit there and hit it, and like hit up on the green, 15 feet from the hole. Like, yeah, that was an amazing shot. And then he would go up and hit it in like 10 yards from the hole, and I'm like, or 10 feet from the hole. I'm like, oh come on. I just thought I had an amazing shot, and you had to go steal my thunder.
Like my shot couldn't have counted. I'm gonna putt my shot anyways.
Can we just take mine anyways?
That's good right there, and that's I was gonna say something on that. You reminded me of something, and I just completely lost it. So that's gonna go out the window there, anyways. But charity golf tournaments they're just fun, and you cheat a little bit every now and then. But because
like I know my drive was back here, but I'm allowed like another club length forward, aren't I?
Yeah, like did you see? And this just reminded me of this. Did you see the viral? I think it was on TikTok. The viral TikTok going around at some golf tournament where it was a scramble and a team posted a score or submitted a score of a 46.
Oh, really?
When the lowest score other than them was like a 52 or something, like it was like in the 50s. Like look, it's reasonable in those golf tournaments when in a scramble to see a team shoot like 55, whatever. Yeah, they posted a freaking 42. And when you look at their scorecard, apparently they got like 4 hole-in-ones with one of them being on a par 4. It was embarrassing.
Good golf out there with Matt smacking the hole-in-one on a par 4.
It wasn't good golf, but that was the funny part about it because when they showed it, it was like, oh yeah, these like they didn't even try to hide the fact that they just cheated their ass off. It was just, but I saw 2 of the guys just left good golf.
Yeah, I think Micah and Grant both left.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, so that's I didn't read as to why, so I'm not going to comment on that.
I know because I actually liked watching their content a lot, and I watched. I saw that pop up, so I was like, well, I got to watch this now. And it seems like they just they wanted to further their careers kind of separately, and so I hope that it wasn't anything like there was any kind of malice or anything like that between them, but it seems like it was just kind of a part their ways and. Still kind of a shock.
It doesn't seem like there was malice, but from what I was able to gather, it seemed like it was a bit of a shock because the one clip I did see of the guys when they announced it, they seemed to almost be a little shook and shocked that it happened it seemed to happen out of nowhere. But if that's all it was and there wasn't any bad will or anything like that, then obviously you wish the best for both good golf and the 2 of them to do it because look, we're all out here trying to achieve the same thing, so I'm not going to shoot anybody else down for trying.
Absolutely.
And whatever way they choose to go about it. But so let's talk a little NFL here though, because my Patriots won last night, but
it didn't really feel like a victory though, did it?
None of their wins this year felt like a victory. It's I can't watch them. I can't watch them. I do, but God, it's Mac Jones, I know I blame a lot of it on Patricia and Judge and like the way they constructed the coaching staff, but still, Mac Jones is starting to piss me off. Like he's kind of a big crybaby, and he's just annoying the hell out of me. Even last night, I saw him when they had to take a timeout because they were about to get a delayed game. It was like early in the third quarter, I think, and they had to take a timeout. And his reaction to after they took the timeout was to look at the sideline and like basically cuss him out. I was like, well, it's part of your job too to get the snap off. Like stop blaming everybody else. Like did he have that reputation in college too? Like was he more of a team player in college? Because he's kind of coming off as a diva now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't really like him at all in college. I mean, you're not going to get away with that on Nick Saban's team.
Well, that's a fair point.
And so, I mean, not only that, but then even like I thought from his rookie year, I thought he could be something really special.
I did too.
But then, after that, especially this year, of course, he's banged up, so you kind of got to give him a little bit of a break. But even when he's not, he doesn't look good at all this year.
Yeah, he doesn't move around the pocket well. Sure, he's made a few like good tough passes here and there. Like I won't take that away from him. He can still sling the ball. My issue with him isn't necessarily the mechanics of his throwing. It's more so his presence in the pocket where he kind of dies off and he can't seem to feel the pressure anymore. Like last year, he did a great job of that. He was able to feel the pressure. He was able to step up and move laterally. This year, like that pressure comes in and he just kind of ducks and covers. And I don't know what's causing that, but I mean, sure, the offensive line blows. Some part of that is injuries, but still, even without the injuries, they were a very underwhelming offensive line. But yeah, Mac Jones is just really starting to feel like he's not what we thought he was.
No, yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of hype around him too, and especially with Brady leaving and who's going to fill in for him. They thought maybe Cam could do something. Cam didn't really fill in that spot the way that anyone wanted. And, then Mac Jones comes along and kind of shows a little bit of a Brady similarity with his playing style and just overall just how he navigates the game. And his first year looked like he could possibly fill into that role a little bit. But man, like he's just really fallen off since then though.
I blame it on attitude. Like I don't think his physical skills has changed. Like I don't think he's put on weight. I don't think he's stopped practicing. Like I don't think it's a physical problem that he has. I think it's all mental to where I think he heard the praise he got after last season and the hype he was getting, and then he came into this year with in the situation of having to tell his own offensive coordinator the playbook basically and having to teach it to Matt Patricia. I think those two things together kind of inflated his ego to where now he thinks he can just march around the field and bitch and complain at everyone. And he doesn't have the pedigree to do that. As a Patriots fan, I don't want to see that. It just annoys me.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I can't watch it and they're just putrid and that's the Patriots, whatever. But they're technically in the playoffs right now, so I feel silly complaining, but but it is what it is. Who's your NFL team?
See, I don't really necessarily have an NFL team. I grew up, whenever I was younger, we were in, Iowa and Nebraska area, and there's not really anybody to root for around here other than college football.
Sure.
And then whenever we moved down to Indiana when I was young, we rooted for the Colts a little bit, and it was fun because Peyton Manning took them there into the Super Bowl twice while we lived there. And
that was a good time to be a Colts fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't really a bandwagon thing. It was just a location thing, and all of a sudden they started winning. So, I mean, I put that on my shoulders. I'm the one that carried them to the Super Bowl.
Of course.
So we rooted for the Colts. But after Peyton left, it was just really hard to root for them. Yeah, it just I loved Andrew Luck, but then how they treated him ever since then, didn't really have a whole lot of respect for the Colts fan base and everything. But I do lean towards the Cardinals. I'm a big Kyler Murray fan.
Then you had a rough night last night with Kyler Murray.
I did.
That was brutal.
Yeah, I do lean towards the Cardinals, but it's just hard for me to pick a team just because I'm such a diehard college football fan, though.
That's fair enough. That I went to school in West Virginia and they all just rooted for the Steelers because they were the closest team.
Yeah.
But they were all much more, if you had to give them a choice over WVU or the Steelers, they didn't give a shit about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They wanted WVU. So I get it. But yeah, look, watching Kyler Murray go down last night, you don't want to see that.
No.
And you noticed it right. Anytime you see Judon or any defensive player like barely touch the guy and then immediately call for the medic, like they all know what happened. And then when you watch the slow-mo, you could see the knee pop. Like it was I hate to see it. And I'm honestly very curious to know like what the rest of his career is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean it was very similar to me to the way, if you can remember Jimmy G and his injury, how you could tell just the way he stepped. You could tell it buckled up on him. That's almost what it seemed like with Kyler there. The way that he's making the turn, I couldn't really tell though if it was when he was making the turn that one looked kind of goofy, but then also with his left leg coming down was also the one that looked goofy. So just the whole thing just kind of looked like he just really got himself into that situation. And the non-contact injuries are probably the worst, just to watch, because it's like, man, you didn't even do anything bad, like it wasn't like you got hit hard, you should have slid, nothing. It just happens. Yeah,
and it's just brutal. You feel for it. Yes, Rook, I'm assuming this is you, Rook. I guess it might be TJ, but I'm assuming this is you, Rook, Scoreboard Addicts. We did talk about the match right at the top of the show. I think neither one of us really watched too much of it. But I think the consensus is that we liked the outcome of it all. Look, we were there for the trash talk for Justin and Jordan with the video afterwards, asking Tiger and Rory what the hell happened. What do they do? So yeah, we're there for that side of golf. I think we're there for the entertainment of it.
Well, and anytime you get some of the greatest to ever play the game too, it's a lot of fun. That's something too that, for me, when I lived in Indiana, when I was really young, we lived near a golf course, and I never stepped foot on the golf course. I mean, other than to go sled down the hill in the wintertime. But I never played a single hole of golf until, I don't know, I guess it'd be maybe 4 or 5 years back.
Okay.
And so, I mean, for people who haven't stepped on the course and played the game and realize how difficult it is and how every little motion matters, you put your fingers in the wrong spot on the club and you're going to screw up your swing. And so, I mean, it's just, it's really cool to look at, and watch guys. It's funny how now I can watch golf and sit there and find the excitement in it, because I never in a million years would have seen myself that way. And now even owning a golf company, golf apparel company, is just, it's crazy. But I love anytime you see the best in the world getting on and playing with each other. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I first heard that it was going to be these four in this upcoming match, I remember saying on the show to Bud, I remember saying that that I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't a mixture of two professional golfers and like two celebrities, because to me that in the previous matches, like when we had other athletes from other sports kind of jump in between, Peyton and Brady and whatnot, that was the appeal of the match to me at that time, because that was, world-class athletes trying something out on a professional level, quote unquote professional level. So I was very unsure, like, what do I want to watch four professional golfers who face each other all the time play around a golf for? But it was surprising from what I did see out of it, that because it's such a more kind of lighthearted approach to the game during the match, it is different, and it was great. So hell, I'm here for it, because we still get to see great golfers kind of out of their element in a sense.
Well, and I hated seeing Brady play, because it's like, all right, you're already the greatest in football. Can you just be the greatest at that and stop being great at everything? Because like he gets pissed off when he has like a shot that I'd be happy with that. And he's out there getting pissed off about it. Like, stop being good at everything, dude. Just sit down and be bad at something, please.
Well, he's not good at everything. We know he's bad at marriage. So
he's bad at relationships. But that's not always an easy thing to get by with.
Yeah, that's which I think it's hilarious that people. So I don't know if you saw the picture of AJ Brown in the bed with the girl, and people think it's Giselle. Oh, yeah. I saw the picture. That's not Giselle. Like, come on, guys. That's just some girl who had like similar eyes to Giselle, and he told her to put her arm over her mouth. So that there's no way in hell that AJ Brown and Giselle Bundchen were in that bed together, and that's happening. It's just not a thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
I can't stand AB. I hate
hate
everything about him now. And it's so crazy because again, like when he was still young in the league, man, he was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And here in the last 4 years, I guess maybe, really ever since he left the Steelers, throwing a fit,
Well,
it's hard to watch him.
well, you know what the sad thing is? It's really ever since he suffered that concussion from Vontez Perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
And that because that's what like literally right up to that point when he suffered that injury, I remember feeling really freaking bad for him because I was like, damn, like he's like just a solid professional, great athlete, but then after that, that's going to be a brain that's studied someday.
now I look at him and I wish Vontez Perfect could hit him one more time.
Yeah, right. Montez Perfect hit a lot of guys.
He did.
In a lot of
He was
ways.
a dirty player. Another
He
guy
was a dirty
that's
player.
hard to like.
Ryan, thank you for the show. Yes, I am the duck. I am the mallard. That's what I'm here for.
The
So
real Mallard.
Thank you for yes, the real one. So thank you for stopping in. What was I gonna say? The other thing I want to talk about. I swear, my last point on the Patriots and Cardinal game last night. Where did you stand on the fact that Kendrick Bourne was not Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker was obviously concussed, and it took Nelson Aguilar to basically commit a false start and wave the refs down to stop the play from happening, to stop the game and get him out of the game. Like, where do you stand on that? Because Devontae Parker could barely stand on the line.
I mean, when you back up to the Tua situation and knowing that he should have never came back in to play, and he definitely should not have been in against the Bengals. When I was watching that game the entire time, every time I would see anyone get near him, I got really scared because it was not just a concussion, it was bad. And then of course, whenever he finally got slung down, immediately I thought like, ooh, this could be the one that hurt him. And sure enough, it was.
It was,
But then, you would think that the NFL as a whole would have learned from that situation. And it seemed like right after that, every game that I would watch, whether it be college or NFL, it seemed like every game was extremely cautious with it. But then you see that, I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. I think that it's just, it's something that you've got to at least use common sense and see that out there, because they started with the whole like stumbling. If you see him stumble a little bit, and there'd be times where a guy stumbles, but it has nothing to do with a head injury, like he just tripped over the turf or something, and they'd pull him off the field. But how about you open your eyes to these situations? Because I mean, that was definitely a bad one. And it's going to lead to more situations like what happened with Tua if we're not careful.
Well, and like you said, the immediate aftermath in those, like, say, like 2-3 weeks after the Tua injury, they were taking everyone off the field for anything remotely close to a head injury, which bravo to the NFL for doing that, even if sometimes it was annoying because the guy wasn't concussed. But you get what they were trying to do. They obviously realized they made a mistake and they were trying to correct it. This was like, when you watch the hit in slow motion, it's hard to see, like, yes, he hit his head on the ground, but it doesn't honestly look bad. Like when you watch the hit, like he gets tackled cleanly. He hits his head on the ground. It doesn't look crazy, but the second he stands up, you see it. Like his eyes are in 3 different directions. Well, he can't stand straight.
Yeah, and concussions are definitely the one that we need to pay attention to the most and be most careful about because of what they lead to. And absolutely, but I even think the same thing. Sorry if you can hear my dogs kind of going crazy.
No, it's fine.
Somebody must have walked into the door. But when you just take injuries just in general, injuries, you see a guy out there and he's obviously injured, and there's a lot of times where they just kind of like let them stay out there. They're trying to fight. I've been in that situation before when I've played sports. No, I'm fine. But somebody has to intervene, because that's how I've gotten injured even worse, by staying out there on the field. And so it's not just in that situation, for example, you have to see that a player is hurt, regardless of whether it's a head injury, a neck injury, shoulder injury. It doesn't matter. Get them off the field and make sure that they get off the field safely. Just because it's going to end people's career, and it's usually just a lack of good judgment on their part, but you can't blame the player in that situation.
No, and I agree 100%, and that's why I commend Nelson Aguilar for doing what he did.
Yeah.
For someone who hasn't necessarily had a consistent role on the team itself for him to take that stand as a player, looking out for his other player. Like, it just shows you don't have to be the best player on a team to make a difference on the team. Like, Nelson Aguilar saw like Devontae Parker needed help, but Devontae Parker was not going to take himself out of the game because, quite frankly, Devontae Parker probably didn't even realize he was playing in a football game when that next play was about to happen, and Nelson Aguilar to stop the play. Like, I commend him for that. And everything there. The NFLPA is reviewing it now, which bravo to the NFLPA. They need to protect the players. That's what they're there for. And I think Devontae Parker was about to be done wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I wish Devontae Parker the best. Obviously, we'll see kind of how long he's out for here. But yeah, the way he acted after that hit that seemed small was concerning, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good on. I will say I'm proud of my Patriots in that sense. Nelson Aguilar, who hasn't shown up and has stone hands all year, at least has a big heart. Because I can go to sleep easy tonight with that. But look, the NFL is freaking upside down this year.
It is.
That's how it feels to me. Like, everyone thought the AFC West was going to be the powerhouse. Between the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Broncos, like that was supposed to be the powerhouse, and come to find out, two of those teams are freaking brutal. And the AFC East is the one where every team has a winning record and has a chance at the playoffs right now, which that's upside down. Tom Brady, who can't throw a freaking touchdown pass to save his life right now, it's nothing makes sense at all to me this NFL season, and I don't know what the hell to do with it. Every time it feels like I make a prediction on who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, they suffer a debilitating injury. Like I was saying, okay, it feels like it's going to be either the Eagles and the 49ers against the Chiefs or the Bills. Like, that's just what it feels to me. And then obviously Garoppolo goes down. Trey Lance went down earlier in the year. The 49ers are down to freaking Brock Purdy now, who looked good, but now potentially without Divots Samuel for a couple weeks. I don't know what to expect out of the NFL season this year. I don't think I've ever been in this position.
No, and I do want to toot my own horn because we covered preseason NFL, and we talked about who our dark horse may be, and I did pick the Philadelphia Eagles as my dark horse, even though I'm not sure. I know some people didn't like that I was calling them a dark horse because they have talent, but I didn't see anybody else calling them to be the team, because I've been behind Jalen Hurts. I thought he had a really good rookie year. He stepped in for Carson Wentz and had a really good rookie year, I thought, but everyone hated him.
Yeah.
I saw so much hate towards him. His second year, I thought he made a lot of progress in his second year. Yeah, he needed to improve in some areas, but he made a lot of progress. And now this year.
And to your point about him having weapons now, I think the things that people were hating on him for in year two was not necessarily his problem. It was the fact of what was around him. Yeah, absolutely. And because I agree that it felt, whenever people were saying that Jalen Hurts was playing for his job this year, I was like, that seems harsh. Like,
I don't know where any of that comes from either, because you just, I liked Jalen Hurts at Alabama. I thought, I saw the leadership that he had. I saw the poise, and you could tell he was a Nick Saban product as far as mentality. And so, I loved every bit of that about him. When he mentioned that he was coming to Oklahoma, that I went nuts. I was extremely happy. I wasn't sure how great he would be, but then Lincoln Riley really formed his passing ability, and that's what really, I think, led him to being as good as he can be in the NFL and really raising that ceiling for him. But I don't know. I didn't understand all the hate towards Jalen Hurts, and now this year people are realizing, no, he can actually be pretty efficient. And look at his touchdown to interception ratio right now, because
he's literally the MVP favorite right now.
And you know what? I took my bet on him at the beginning of the year. I think maybe week 3 or 4. I put him in as my bet for MVP too. And I forget what the odds were. I'd have to look that up. But yeah,
looking pretty good right now, whatever they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever they were. But yeah, look, so that's the NFL this year. It's up in the air. But hey, we're gonna cut this episode a little short tonight, just because I got things I got to do tonight. Unfortunately, I still got to unpack. My kids are coming back tomorrow, so I got to keep setting up that room. But regardless, Josh, tell us, where can everyone find you? What do you have going on? Obviously, MahlerBros.com, but to tell us where everyone can find you and what you got going.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like you said, MahlerBros.com is where you can find some incredible gear, all your golf polos and stuff like that. And we're constantly trying to add more to the site and everything. But of course, if you want to listen to more sports, we're also a part of the Belly Up Sports Network. You can find us at rising2.com. That's risingto.com. Or just look us up on YouTube, Rising to the Occasion. We talk all sports, even though I think most of the time it does go into college football. But we do talk about all sports. We at least try to throw it in there here and there. We have plans for, we've already been putting stuff together to dive into the NHL season now that's rolling pretty nice. Steady. And then I don't know, all three of us just kind of hate the NBA and some of the mentality in that. So we try to touch on it when we can. But I mean, rising2.com. That's where you can find pretty much all of our stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Josh. You can, like you said, you can catch him, catch the show Rising to the Occasion. You can catch us every Tuesday here at 8 o'clock on YouTube. And we will see you next week. Bud will be back next week, and we're going to get back into some golf. We're going to get ready for the upcoming DFS season that we are officially starting in January. So thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.